yeah, yeah, hey, yo, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yo, let's make the content great, yeah, hey. I am a content man, I am a content man, I am a content man, yeah, oh, hey, yeah, oh, may I, hey, yeah, oh. Has the camera shifted? Just ever so slightly. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, hey, yeah, yeah, oh, hey, yeah, yeah, oh, hey, yeah, yeah, oh, hey, yeah, hey, me, yeah, hey, yo, me, yeah, oh, hey, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, oh, me, hey, yeah, yeah, oh, hey, yeah, 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 oh, hey, yeah, oh, yeah, hey, let's go. Okay, it is evening, we're gonna keep going with the content production and watching the Mosey video to wind down. Es ist so leicht, das ist so schön, in diesem Leben zu existieren. Yahweh, Yahim, Yahoo. Mit der Löwenmähne, mit der Löwenmähne, Yahoo, Yahoo, wie Florian Silbereisen oder wie Janis, Yahoo, hey. Hey, ja, hey, me, ja, Yahoo, me, ja, ja, hey, me, ja, ja, Yahoo, me, ja, hey, me, ja, ja, hey, Yahoo, me, ja, hey, Yahoo. Hey, ja, hey, Yahoo, me, hey, ja, Yahoo. Hey, hey, ja, ja, hey, ho, hey, ja, hey. Ja, Mann, 2025. Und wir stehen immer noch. I am still standing. Still, we are standing, alright. Mr. Mosey in a video, ja, so gehen wir vorwärts, ja, hey.
That is definitely, you're so good at systems, you're so good at taking a view askew. This is why I really encourage people, anybody, if you can hear the sound of my voice right now, I'm telling you, and I'll take the conversation somewhere political for a second, feel free to dodge as much as you need to, but my thing is the center is a destination. And what I mean by that is, I want the friction between the left and the right to help me find an actually intelligent path forward. I want people to help me see the problem from different angles. I don't want to get a hard-on from hearing somebody say what I already believe, which is like the big temptation. And I get it, dude. It juices me up as much as it does anybody. But I'm just like, that is not going to help me see the problem from a more clear perspective. So I think of myself as, I'm a terrible debater. Let me be very clear. I'm a deep thinker, but a slow thinker, so debate's never going to be my thing. But I want to know, as if I were going to have to debate this, I want to know the best arguments from both sides. Because if I really understand the smartest people who think that my angle is just idiotic, if I can say, okay, I'm going to steal men's argument, I know their argument as well as they do, and then here's why I believe, which my whole thing is predictive engine to getting you where you want to go, right? So I know my goal, and then what has the most predictive validity. Cool. So I want the collision of those ideas. But there is something in the human brain, just the very architecture, where people are so hungry to be told what they already think, that one makes me sad for them. Because if you can do what you just did, which is go, okay, I have a problem, but I need to see this from a totally different angle, and then I need to formalize what I see. If you can do that, and then you're willing to iterate, and go, actually, I need to update this this breakdown that I have. And while I haven't seen you do it, I absolutely will bet my entire net worth that if you found a better system, you would update your thinking. You'd tell the world, yeah, I'm doing something differently now, which I think is incredibly powerful.
Oh, thanks. Well, I think Zucker.
You make that decision to go do something, even if that means going to the.
We watch it all the way through, Yahoo,
And imagine this is you beforehand, right? that stuff that result in, you watching porn. This is why you're here right now. You probably feel bad about it, and this is what's leading you to listening to us right now. But there's also another decision that you can make, a decision that leads to self-respect, respect from your family, just a much more positive solution. But how do you get there? It's easier said. Another decision that you can make, a decision that leads to self-respect, respect from your family, just a much more positive solution.
Exactly.
But how do you get there? Those thoughts that come in sometimes outweigh the positive thoughts. And we found, our own solutions. This is why we built this app that kind of helps you to choose a better decision that is better than watching the porn. We've actually formulated a way where you can, that you do that, the stronger that this becomes. That this right-hand side gets stronger than the left-hand side. So when those thoughts come in, this will outweigh this. You have to have some tools, We've created a few tools. Simply, remind yourself, what were you doing before you were watching the porn? Were you a carpenter? Did you remind yourself right now for you? Simply, remind yourself, what were you doing before you were watching the porn? Were you a carpenter? Did you used to enjoy going to the gym? Did you used to, I used to, be a model car guy? Or whatever, fixing things. There was things that you probably used to do that gave you dopamine, that gave you pleasure, and that gave you more respect from your friends and your family and everything, and it gave you something that you enjoyed. And so imagine that if that comes up, you make that decision to go do something. Even if that means going to the store, and go do something. Even if that means going to the store and, buying a new kit, whatever, a new set of tools for yourself, you got to keep creating. You got to make that decision before it even gets there. Something that gives you pleasure, something that gives you dopamine. And then the cool thing about that is you do that, and it's just only going to have a positive outlook. When you do that, you might have it's only going to have a positive outlook. When you do that, you might have a dopamine rush for 30 seconds, followed by devastation, depression. Just this is why you guys are here. So that's kind of this is why you guys are here. Just this is why you guys are here. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we teach. It's part of it. There's also a fundamental part as well that we teach. But this is sort of like the very cool solution that we found.
Certainly. So Austin just said, you have a solution when the urges come up to do something else instead. But, you don't always want to be a man of reaction, right? You don't always want to be running around dealing with your urges as they come up. You want to live a life free of porn, where you're just a healthy, normal man, right? So how do you get to the point where those urges don't even come up so strong anymore? We don't have those urges don't even just a healthy, normal man, right? So how do you get to the point where those urges don't even come up so strong anymore? We don't have to fight with your urges all day long. The key to that is to balance your energy well during the day. For that reason, we've created a video course for our clients. But if you do not want to become a client, in case you choose not to do this on your own, here's the solution, what you can do and what you can take. You need to find ways during the day, as Austin said, to build something, to go to the gym, to go take some walks, to go walk your dogs, to go, run a hiking trail, to spend your energy in good ways so that your dogs, to go, run a hiking trail, to go take some walks, to go walk your dogs, to go, run a hiking trail, to spend your energy in good ways so that at nighttime you don't use the pornography to get rid of some excess energy, because all of this energy during the day has been well spent, has been rewarding you with dopamine throughout your day, so that
here and it just keeps growing and growing, and you hate it, but for some reason it just keeps getting worse. Well, that's also because you've just kept it all to yourself, and and it's in here, and it's in here, and it just keeps growing and growing, and you hate it, but for some reason it just keeps getting worse. Well, that's also because you've just kept it all to yourself. Now, there's a lot of power in sharing and kind of getting some things out of your chest. Probably shouldn't do it with your wife, your kids, and stuff like that. This is why we've created a community of men who understand it, and it's kind of cool, and it's safe for you to do that, to open up, because then you can just become the man. You let, we're all carrying the weight together, and we're all figuring out this stuff together. And this is not the job of, our family and our friends necessarily. Like, this is why we built this community, and it's super important. What was that study that you said in England? You the details on that, like it said, it's very important for a community, for men to have a sense of community. Like, anyway, what was that?
A recent study from 2021, a team of psychologists reviewed how men were trying to overcome pornography, and those who succeeded and those who failed. And they found the number one reason why men did not succeed was not the availability of porn, was not how a recent study from 2021, a team of psychologists reviewed how men were trying to overcome pornography, and those who succeeded and those who failed. And they found the number one reason why men did not succeed was not the availability of porn, was not something, it was specifically lack of support. Among all the factors that could have been support, if you feel isolated, you're much more prone to use that, to relax, or to give yourself something. Right? Very important, support.
That's right. So these are kind of the three components that we've put together. Number one, the before it gets into relapse, you have some sort of backup formula, something else to do that's positive, that's just going to make you do that better decision. That's kind of the immediate situation. We have number two, kind of the foundation. You start getting into good physical habits, squats, and we highly recommend like breath work, these things that we teach in our courses, to really get that energy on a more balanced level. So you have like a foundational, you have a foundation against the porn. You built your castle, you built the structure, so that way the enemies can't get in. Against the porn, you built your castle. You built your against the porn. You built your castle, you built the structure, so that way the enemies can't get in, and the enemies might take the form of a thought, and you might see something on TV that just triggers you. Well, when you have this foundation, that will be a lot less, and you might not necessarily need to use the instant reaction trigger thing and stress, because over time you're just going to be building your castle, your fortress, right? And then number three, the community. So we have the community that these three components really help you to succeed in stopping porn, for good, not just for these 30 days, but for actual good, because you're going to continue this and it's just going to grow. The porn, you're not going to really be quitting the porn at that time. The porn's going to quit you. It's not even going to, if you look at it like that, the enemy is like, whoa, the defenses are up. I'm not even going to waste my time with this guy. On to the next, because your defenses are going to be too far up. And then once you start getting the respect back from your family, you're up. And he's like, whoa, it's not even going to, if you look at it like that, the enemy is like, whoa, the defenses are up. I'm not even going to waste my time with this guy. On to the next, because your defenses are going to be too far up. And then once you start getting the respect back from your family, your wife, your friends, all of that is just going to be great, man. And help you. This is why we're presenting this to you. So why don't we show them a little bit about the plan? And we can tell you guys, just by the way, for your information down below, if you are interested in booking a call, book a free coaching call with us. So if you click on Calendly, there's a half-an-hour coaching call. We'll tell you one thing that we believe will help you with your problem. Like, you know, you can tell us what your number one problem is. Hey, at nighttime I just seem triggered, or it's this situation on the weekend when my wife leaves, and we'll give you a solution to that we believe will help you. That's our free gift to you no matter what. And yes, we will tell you about our plan, and we will tell you about what we do, and we'll see if we're a right fit for each other, because we have to we have to really like kind of choose our clients right. We have a limited space. I believe it's just 15 clients per month, so we're really but we can really put a lot into helping you. So book a call down below. If you're too excited, then call us. We have our phone number down below. And if you're just ready to go, click on the third button down below, and you'll be able to go and read all the details of what our plan entails. Okay? So, Florian, would you like to open up a little bit about what is actually entailed in this?
100%. So basically, you as a married man, you have two choices, right? Do you be motivated by somebody, by getting access to a group, a coaching program, something that we offer, you have access to us, to our Telegram group, or do you choose to motivate yourself? We know from experience and from many years of research into the science and everything that this is a big component, the support, the motivation. When you don't quite feel that you have what it takes, like you do inside have the strength, you just need a little word of encouragement. A good thing that we send you our PDF and audio guides. We have a whole multimedia array of good solutions for you that will refocus your mind, that will shake up your body, that will make you feel ecstatic and get your dopamine going. Many solutions. They will not overwhelm you. There will be just only one solution for one specific situation. But if you decide to get motivated by yourself, and this is certainly something that you will need to do, motivate yourself, find support, and find a solution for when you are most in need. Look, we have this app where you can choose triggers, emergency relapse prevention, among others. So imagine you're feeling triggered, a beautiful waitress, or something on TV, something on the radio, or mental fantasy, boredom, whatever it may be, you have a solution for each and every situation. Whether you're at work and you can't stand up and just move around, or do jumping jacks, we understand that this is not the solution for every situation. Sometimes you need to read something that mentally refocuses you. Some of you work remotely or work at home. We have a whole work guide that we can give you as a bonus in case you sign up right now for one of those limited 15 spots. So this offer will not last forever, and all of the bonuses will also not be available for everybody. Just to give you a brief overview, we have made a work guide, and at home alone at night guide. When you're stressed, we have a training on how to naturally reverse the effects of ED, and much more. So if you're a man struggling with pornography, addiction, and the adjacent negative effects, then I suggest you call us. And let's talk about the solution.
That's right. Just to give you guys a preview of what this is about. So imagine that you're walking, you have a trigger that comes up. You will actually have this app, and you'll have the strength, because we're going to show you how to get the strength to actually just take out the phone. You're going to be taking out your phone anyway, or going to your laptop if you're going to choose the wrong decision. So, we show you how to make sure that you have this in front of you instead. You're feeling triggered, for example. Okay, this is just a scenario. You saw something on TV that, a beautiful woman, was maybe a little bit exposing herself, right? Which is pretty common nowadays, right? So, I feel triggered, for example. You click on there, okay, what is your emotional sensation there? Were you by yourself? Is your wife out of town? Was it stress, loneliness, boredom, depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, frustration, rejection, guilt or shame, which is a huge part, anger, another big one for a lot of us men. We don't know how to control our anger, and then it just gets too much. Fear. So these are triggers that and we have specific solutions for each and one of those. So if you have that, you will click on here and you will do this practice, and it's going to build kind of fun and kind of very easy to do for build your fortress. Build your fortress up. The more that you do this, the more self-esteem you're going to have, the more confidence that you're going to have, and it's just going to keep building from there. And we've created activities that are kind of fun and kind of very easy to do for anybody to do. We have different options based on where you're at. Breathwork options, PDFs that you can do worksheets on. The point is for you to take a different action than this every time. And we get you to remind you that that this is not going to be good. What is the end result of this every time, right? And we get you to remind you that this is not going to be good. What is the end result of this every time, right? It's usually this, sitting there, why did I do this again? And I feel shame and I feel dirty and everything. Well, you're not alone in that. And we help you to even before and I feel dirty and everything. Well, you're not alone in that. And we help you to even before that even happens to make the right decision and for you to continue to keep making that right decision. And it's going to be an amazing experience for you to go through this. And we really believe in what we're doing. So
Talking about experience, we've filmed a whole course, a 30-day course. This program is strung around 30 days because for you to have a real transformation of getting to a life free of porn, for real and successfully this time, it will take about 30 days. That's why you get 30 days of our support. That's why we also made a video course. We get one video every other day, a little exercise that has 3 ingenious components that I would love you to share.
Yeah, sure. So the components that we've created there, number one, it's, we filmed it in like South America, kind of in the jungle. So we filmed it in like South America, kind of in the jungle. So it looks very like what your life could be, like, very adventurous, because like the more that you get this energy going, the less fear that you have. And man, I'll go on that when we work together. That you have. And man, I'll go on that when we work together. The amount of strength and courage that you get from this. But one of the components is the amount of strength and courage that you get from this. But one of the components is squats. So we start off with 3 minutes of squats and 3 to 5 minutes of squats. And what that does is just really helps you get that energy balanced out. So we suggest doing that in the morning. You have followed by kind of my motivational speaking. So I'm telling you to don't click on that. Your one job to focus on is to not click on that dirty video. So as you're doing these squats, you're listening to kind of me doing a drill sergeant situation, which is really what you need, especially in those first 30 days to really quit that habit. You need somebody to kind of be like that, right? And then we have followed by breath work. So I've learned some deep breath work from studying with Wim Hof for a time before, and I found that breath with Wim Hof, breath work from studying with Wim Hof. For a time before, and I found that breathing practice, it just really helps with the dopamine, and your whole body feels good. And also what it does though, whatever you were feeling beforehand, you feel completely different afterward, like in a positive way. So if you were kind of triggered beforehand, you do that breath work, all that's gone. You feel way too good and ecstatic to start your day, and your confidence goes up. It's just like I hate to put it like this, but it's a natural drug. It really is, and it's better than drugs. So it's definitely better than porn. So that's just the other component. Next, we have a meditation that we, before you think, oh, this is hippie stuff, it's really not. It's very simple. It's very ancient. It's very simple. So after that breath work, this is watching porn, you really kind of opens up your heart a little bit. Because like when you're watching porn, your heart kind of goes cold, and that's very unfortunate, you know. And I don't know, you probably noticed that maybe you're less active with your kids, and your porn, your heart kind of goes cold, and that's very unfortunate, you know. And I don't know, you probably noticed that maybe you're less active with your kids and your wife and your, you know what I mean? And that is something that you don't want to die with. You don't want to regret that later on in life, believe me, you know. Regret that later on in life, believe me, you know. You want to cherish each moment. So a man is supposed to really be centered in his heart, you know, and this is a very important component. So later on in life, believe me, you know, you want to cherish each moment. So a man is supposed to really be centered in his heart, you know, and this is a very important component. So, and the more that you actually start to do this heart meditation, you can feel way better than you've ever felt in your life. And you're like, wow, this is a missing component in our society. And you can feel. So, and the more that you actually start to do this heart meditation, you can feel way better than you've ever felt in your life. And you're like, wow, this is a missing component in our society, in school, and with like almost everything. With like almost everything in school, in our society, in school, and with like almost everything, you know, is we've neglected this very part and very important part as a man. So we help you tap into that very briefly. It's maybe a 2-minute meditation, and then after that we have it's just, you know, is we've neglected this very part and very important part as a man. So we help tap into that very briefly. So we help you tap into that very briefly. It's maybe a 2-minute meditation. And then after that, we have, it's just kind of shaking it off, we call it. You know, it's sort of a easy Tai Chi thing I've learned. It's just like, it's not even really Tai Chi, it's just something I've learned. And it kind of just brings everything together and it shakes off all the rest of that, you know, kind of those temptations and stuff. And just kind of metaphorically speaking and physically. So these are real practical approaches that we believe will help you to bring that foundation through these 30 days. Yeah, so the community, what do you think?
On top of being supported, you can have all the tools. You can have the best tools available and known to men right now. If you're not motivated, if you don't know why, if you don't get pushed over the edge by the whole situation of people going through this experience together, remember, this group is also for you to share if you feel to. If not, you can be as discreet as you want. Nobody will know your details. If you don't want them to be revealed, you can be anonymous. But if you feel like you want to share with the other people, this group, imagine this, like 15 people, 15 married husbands, plus us coaches, and the whole operation will help you to go through those 30 days together. This support, 50 married, imagine this, like people, this group, imagine this, like 15 people, 50 married husbands, plus us coaches, and the whole operation will help you to go through those 30 days together. This support, especially in those vulnerable moments when you travel, will help you to go through those 30 days together. This support, especially in those vulnerable moments when you're traveling, when you're alone in a hotel room, when you're alone at night, when you're in your car and you're just pulling up in the driveway before you go home, you have a little time and you feel like doing something. In these moments, you need the app, you need to refocus, and you need support. You can text us any moment.
Yeah.
We will do something so that you don't fail, because we don't let our clients fail.
That's right.
And frankly, look, in quitting pornography, we, for example, basically chose a pretty simple business for it. Look, all you have to do is to stop doing something. We're not teaching you a whole big, you don't need a whole big workbook and read a book and what, you don't need all the knowledge. All you need is tools and the motivation
That's the addiction talking. That's that thought saying, being talking. That's something, that's not your higher being talking. That's something else telling you, yeah, I'll do this another time. That's else telling you, yeah, I'll do this another time. That's the addiction talking. That's that thought saying, I'm good, it's not that much of a problem. You have to be real with yourself right now. Look yourself in the mirror. Can you look yourself in the mirror? Can you really look yourself in the eyes? And if you can't, I strongly suggest booking a call right now, or giving us a call right now if you can't wait. Limited spots available, and we're really, believe me when I say this, we are going to put our hearts and souls into this to help you get out of it. We believe in it that much. Especially too, look at society, look at the way things are going. We need strong men in this world now. We need strong men in this world now. We need strong fathers to teach good moral principles to their children right now. So not to be, too strong on it, but you have a responsibility right now to really get out of this bad habit right now. So not to be, too strong on it, but you have a responsibility right now to really get out of this bad habit. Your wife is depending on it, your children are depending on it, and the future of the whole society is depending on you to get out of this so you can be your true self and be the strong man that we all need right now. Okay, so book a call below, a free coaching call. We'll tell you about the plan. And if you can't handle it, give us a call right now. If we don't answer, we'll call you back as soon as we can. If you feel like you need to sign up now, sign up down below. All the information's there. If you have any questions, give us a call. Okay, you guys? We'll see you there.
Attention American family fathers, are you here to learn how to quit pornography successfully? That was the question on the introductory page. You opted in, you said yes, you want to take this free training to learn how to quit pornography successfully. For this reason, welcome. My name is Florian Röcke.
My name is Austin Zest.
From Get Out of Bed and Man Above Porn. We are here to talk to you about the ingredients of what it takes as a married family man, because the situation is very particular, to quit pornography successfully as a married family man. For that reason, Austin, what are the two choices that every man always has?
So imagine this is you for a second. The decision that you... imagine this is you for a second. Imagine this is you for a second. The decision that you make before you choose to participate in watching a dirty video, you have two choices always. And it really is that simple. Obviously, it's a lot easier said than done to make the right choice, right? To go down the right-hand side path that leads to positivity, more respect from your family, better ideas in your life, potentially, more business ideas to make your finances better, respect from your wife, self-respect. Obviously, that's the more logical choice to make, right? Instead of going and making the wrong decision where you always end up feeling like that, right? You feel like that, you're sitting there, why did I do that decision again? Why did I make that bad decision? And I feel guilty and ashamed, and man, it's a horrible thing. But what we suggest is actually stopping it before it even gets to say this point here. You're really battling that decision. So that way you're already on the road to self-respect and success, basically going on the right-hand side. So what we suggest is really making that decision, doing a different activity. So what we suggest is really making that decision, doing a different activity that makes you feel good, makes you feel stronger, and that those thoughts that make that kind of makes you feel good, makes you feel stronger, and that those thoughts that make that kind of
really strong. Very, very good.
Hello guys, welcome.
Really, really strong. Very, very good. I love it. We're through all of the videos. Aren't we? That we're gonna have the semen retention challenge to cut all of that together and utilize all of the content that we do have. That's already done, is it? The old Salt Kings advertisements, yeah. Easy.
Zuckerberg said that he said he's a truth teller, but I think before you can be a truth teller, you have to be a truth seeker. And Bezos also talks about this, which is that their goal is truth. So when we're making decisions, he said, the goal shouldn't be to compromise. Like if you say it's 10 feet tall for the ceiling and I say it's 11 feet tall, we shouldn't meet in the middle. Right. We should find a way to know who's right. We should get a tape measure out and we should measure it.
Yes.
And so from that truth-seeking perspective, I probably, like you, I just want to win. And winning doesn't care whether it was your idea or not, or whether it was your original idea. It just cares whether you did it. Yeah. And like we recently, because we talked about this before the show started, but like a quarter or two ago, we had a hypothesis, which was, hey, we're going to make wider content because if, Mr. Beast, because my theory was, okay, taking the natural extreme, Mr. Beast, everybody knows who Mr. Beast is, or many people do. And so he has, by default, all business owners in his audience, or many business owners. And so then I will go how do I go wider and general fame. And we then ran that pretty hard for about 16 weeks. And when I saw the data that came back, which was all of the vanity metrics, the views, the subscribers, things like that, were all way up. But the metrics that I cared about, which was how many people were going to acquisition.com, how many people were applying to be portfolio companies, how many people were buying books, all of those metrics were it was down. And I thought it was counter to my hypothesis. Yeah. But at that point, I had to look at the team and be like, yeah, so that experiment was wrong, and that's on me. But we're going to go what we called back to business. And so everything is going to be business related, which means that we all need to accept now that all of our views are going to be lower, our subscribers are going to be lower, but we're going to attract business owners. And I had one anecdotal experience that really like cemented this. I had a guy who came out who's a business owner, does probably $10 million a year. And he was like, yeah, I listened to your podcast for years. And I guess I'm not really in your audience. I'm not your core audience anymore. And so I stopped listening to it probably in the last 6 months. And I was like, you are 100% my core audience. Yeah. And that was like this kick to my stomach. But I mean, like you probably, being right has zero value. Like, why? I want to win. Yeah. And so that's, I mean, my little ism for my team is just win. And that's all I care about. Like, just win. And if it's your idea, it's my idea, it's the janitor's idea, test it, see if it works. And so that's been really, really big for me.
How do you get people to buy into that? I find I run into frames of reference, natural ego, evolutionarily placed algorithms. Like, by default, most people just really want to be right.
Yeah. I don't tolerate that much. We let the data talk. We let the data decide. Data's king. And so, I mean, sure, we can try your way, do it your way, we'll do it my way, and we'll see which one works. Mm-hmm. And if yours works, I'm all in. And so I think that's like, there's no arbiter of truth that's arbitrary. That just says you are now right. It's like we can know this. Now, I think where it gets difficult is on the ones that you don't know, or let's say you have limited shots on goal. Which shot do we take? That's where it gets harder. And then we try and assemble as much data to support an argument. But I think fundamentally at the base level of entrepreneurship is you make approximated bets. Like by the time you have complete information to make a decision, the opportunity is gone.
Yeah, for sure.
And so we have to, and this also goes for beginners, because I think this actually, especially for beginners, is there's this fallacy that you're going to know everything before you can begin, and you simply cannot. And so you have to get over the discomfort of the unknown, and you have to get comfortable making bets of saying, okay, is this reversible? Yes. And to what degree is it reversible? Okay, if you lose all your money, is money replenishable? Yes. Okay. Now, how long will that take given my skill set? And that'll give you a degree of how big of a bet this is. Now, is there a way that I can make an approximated bet? Can I get a directional bet on this that would, give me a much better clue as to whether this bigger bet that I'm gonna make afterwards is correct? And so I'll try and make smaller bets that give me a little bit more information, that are a little bit more reversible before making a big one. But like that was a big bet that we made with all of the resources that I had and all my time for 16 weeks, making all that. Now you could make the argument, okay, we gained audience that's not really core, and then that might hurt my later videos. And I've got, 50 more years. So, okay, we lost a quarter. Yeah. Big deal.
Yeah, no, the willingness to try things I think is incredibly important. Yeah. You said earlier about courage. I want to go back to that. Yeah. So what is the most courageous thing you've done?
I actually think it's quitting my job. I think that's the hardest thing.
Back in the early days.
Yeah. Because weirdly, I think about this a lot. What are the hardest things that I've done? Hard thing number one was quitting my job. Just the decision of quitting my job and then leaving Baltimore. Because to give everybody an idea, like, you see me now, but I was so afraid of my father's judgment and the few people that I knew from back home that I was going to quit my white collar job to go start a gym and be a personal trainer, that I actually drove across the country and called them when I was already there, because I basically left in the dark of night. Like, no one knew. I basically was a stowaway to my own fear. And so I had to I just drove there, and I called my dad, I think when I was going through Texas, and Texas is like forever when you're driving across it.
Yes, it is.
And I called him and I was like, hey, I'm gonna do the gym thing. And he was like, yeah, no worries. He's like, just, come over, we'll talk about it at lunch. Because he would always talk me off the ledge. He'd be like, hey, you've got you did Vanderbilt, you did in 3 years, you got the good consulting job. He's like, you aced the GMAT. He's like, you're gonna go to Harvard, you're gonna get your MBA there or Stanford, you'll pick one of them. He's like, and you're set, like, you're good, just follow the plan. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And when I was like, I'm already gone, then the flip, then the thing that I was most afraid of was that he was freak out, which is exactly what he did. And the thing is that a lot of people would expect the story to be like, oh, my dad understood and he was super supportive. But he wasn't. we didn't talk for a few years after that, because I was the prodigal son and I did everything to his plan, and I was living the most successful version of his life, not mine. And it was one of those realizations where you're like, I'm winning at a game that I didn't design.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually by default the loser. And so me quitting my job to then pursue fitness was the hardest thing I've done. The second hardest thing I've done was actually getting my gym to work. Because I had so little understanding of how anything worked. I had $50,000 saved up when I was 23 from the consulting job. I lived on basically nothing and almost banked all my pay. And I basically bet it all on the gym. I had $5,000 left after paying for all the equipment and everything else. And I had $5,000 a month in rent. And I had never sold anything to anyone. And so the idea of making $5,000, having never really sold anything to anyone in a local business, which I'd never had in California, which I was from Baltimore, I knew no one. So it wasn't like I could just get on my immediate friend group to come and at least pay the rent. I had no one. And so I think when I was like sleeping on the actual floor of the gym because I couldn't afford 2 rents, was when it like really hit me that no one was coming to save me. And like if I failed, I would have to go back and tell my daddy was right. And that felt like worse than death for me. And so that was incredibly hard. I remember that I have a pretty decent work ethic. But at that time my first session would start at 4:30. So I'd wake up at 4. And then my last morning session ended at 10. And then I would do the marketing, sales meetings. I would clean the gym. I would set up the next thing. I'd get the workouts. I would get the music prepped. And then my 4 o'clock would start showing up. And then 4 until 7:30 or so, people were at the gym. And then after that, I would run the billing and make sure the contracts are right and then reset up for the morning and do it all over again. But I had 0 employees. And so I didn't know you could hire employees. It was only when a member of mine who was an entrepreneur came up to me, and I'd been short with the class that morning. And she was like, you can't treat people like that. And I was like, but I knew that if she was saying it, like I was really off base. And I think I was sleeping right around 4-ish hours a night. Oof. And people say that, but I did it for, I want to say like close to 6 months.
Oh God.
Yeah, I was like delirious. I'd fall asleep on leaning on things. For sure. Yeah, I was very, very tired. And I used to tell people that it was the kind of tired that a good night's sleep couldn't fix.
Yeah.
Like I needed a lot of time. But that was probably the second hardest thing that I did. A lot of it was just because I made up for a tremendous lack of knowledge with I just have to make rent. And then everything else is mine. So I didn't have any understanding of I spent money on nothing. My first gym had sandbags that I wrapped in duct tape as the equipment that I started with. Yeah, it was crazy. And when I opened the gym, I was selling people into a gym that had no equipment because I thought that you should open as fast as possible to start making money. Now, if I knew now, I would have said I would have 3 months of pre-sales, only collect money and have no classes. That's what I would have done, but I didn't know any better. And so I was trying to get open as fast as I could, which then meant that 8 hours a day at baseline is me with a microphone in front of customers, training, doing all of that before I could work on the business. And so it was very real 16, 18 hours a day. And I think setting that standard for people who are new is useful because when you start, you don't have enough money to pay other people. And so you either have to raise money, which you can do, I wouldn't recommend, especially if it's your first shot, or you have to work 3 jobs and basically throw out all of the opinions of everyone who has no idea how business works. Because the only people you probably know when you're starting out don't have businesses. And so they will tell you all these things you should be doing and you should take more time off and you should have more balance and this isn't healthy. And they will tell you all these things, but they are not where you want to be. So don't listen to what they say. Completely ignore them. And instead, I like this little ism, but it's listen to the opinions of people. Don't listen to the opinions of people who are closest to you. Listen to the opinions of the people who are closest to your goals. And a great approximation of that is, if I had known that when I was doing the decision to quit, then I would have known that this is where I want to go eventually. I want to start a business. And if it's hard for me now, it's never going to get easier. As I have more responsibilities, kids, wife, whatever, that's only going to get harder. And the people that I looked up to the most were the most aspiring entrepreneurs, and they would have said, go for it. But everybody I knew was saying, don't go for it. Don't throw away what you have. But I think sometimes you have to trade good for great. And there's always going to be a J curve. There's going to be a dip where instead of being immediately rewarded for the decision, you're immediately punished. And you think that you're making the wrong move because of what immediately happens after, which is how humans learn, which is why it's so tough. But it's like the first week of the gym. Just because you haven't seen results doesn't mean you're doing the wrong stuff. You're probably measuring on the wrong time horizon. And so quitting the job, starting the gym was the second hardest thing that I've done. I would say that the third hardest that I've worked has been now, the season that I'm in right now. This is probably close to the hardest I've worked, but it's different. There is nothing urgent. Everything's important. And I am taking fewer days off than I ever have, and basically working at all hours that I can physically. And so the times that I'm not working is active rest so that I can increase my total output over a longer period of time. Right. There's a long-winded answer, but those are the two things that I feel like those were hard calls for me to make, and those were real struggles for me. But those were the times when I feel like it was, I'm very proud of who I was then to do it.
Now, I heard you talk recently about you can feel a shift in culture, people moving away from the soft stuff, getting a little bit harder.
Yeah.
What do you think is going on in culture?
Oh, I think the pendulum has swung back, and I'm so excited. I do think that it's going to swing back too hard.
That people are going to go way too hard into like
Other
hustle
direction
porn and all that stuff?
Oh, hustle porn? Oh, that, I don't mind about hustle porn.
So what do you
No, I
worry
meant
about?
societally, like from the political realm and stuff. I think that the pendulum definitely reached its pinnacle on the other side and then is going to swing back. And there's going to be, and the thing is that when the way pendulums work is that we start swinging back and everyone agrees it's, not everyone, but more people than not agree that it's better coming back to the middle. And then it's better, and then it's better, and then all of a sudden, but hey, more of that was good, but then at some point it stops being better.
Right.
And so, and this is, I think cycles is why humanity lives in cycles. And so I think it's likely that we will overcorrect, but it might take 10 years for that to happen. So I think right now we're going in the right direction, which is basically pushing away from the political correctness and leaning more into reality, which I am a staunch proponent of reality.
You and I both. Now, you've said that you want to normalize guys, young men, working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think that's what's required to get where you want to go on the timeline that they want.
Why men? Why not men and women?
I have a 88% male audience or something like that. And so I feel like it's my place to speak to them. There are obviously women who follow my stuff, and if that's you, then you can assume that when I say men, I mean men and women. But I think that if a message is going to hit people, if I say men, I will have a stronger reaction and a higher likelihood that it changes someone's behavior than if I said people or men and women. And so if I feel like my effect size of my message, if 88% of the people who hear my message are men, then I'd rather make it as potent as possible. That's why I do it, though.
Makes sense. So what should young men be doing? Like if they're working their ass off 12 hours a day, how do they make use of that 12 hours?
I think being really clear on trade-offs. So I think I'm speaking for you here. I gave up my 20s.
I would say I sold my 20s.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I sold my 20s. I will say that. Well, I actually ended up losing everything. And so I did have to start over at zero again. But
hey, with way more knowledge. So
yes,
all day long.
So I traded my 20s. How about that? So, and that perfectly mixes with the trade-offs, is that you can have the nights out, the fantasy football league, the rec dodgeball team that you want to go to, beers on Tuesdays. You can do that. You just can't also build your dream, unless that is your dream. And I think that's the big part, is like entrepreneurship isn't for everyone. And as much as I talk about entrepreneurship a lot, I think there are plenty of people who don't want that, in which case, great. Like, you've already won. Congratulations, right? It's simply the complaining about reality that's my problem. And so I think that most young men could accomplish all of their goals if they extended how long they would be willing to give themselves to accomplish it. Now, not to anti-Peter Thiel here, because I'm a huge Thiel fan as well, but I think that when you are a novice, you have no approximation of reality. And so one of the difficult parts with how we observe success, a lot of it's social media driven. And this is the best analogy I have. If you were to look at an Olympic marathon, look at where the people in the stands are situated. They're situated at the beginning of the race, and they're situated at the end of the race. But watching someone start a race and watching someone finish a race has almost nothing to do with running a marathon. And so that is the closest approximation that people think. That's why everyone's really excited to start a business, and they're really excited to sell a business. But everything in between, the mundane middle, as I like to call it, they're just, okay, if I'm 4 miles in, it's this times 6. Okay, I'm 5 miles in, it's this times 5 plus 1. Like, you just keep playing these mental games with yourself to learn to endure. And I think that endurance is, if I had to pick one trait for a young man to have, it would be resilience. And I define resilience as the amount of time after an aversive experience that you return to baseline function. And so if you have a series of behaviors that you do under certain conditions, and then something bad happens, how quickly you return back to the original behavior set. And so in doing that, like, if someone can not give up and learn, then on a long enough time horizon, you guarantee victory. Like, if you only had those things, you don't stop and you get better. That's it. And I think that if those are the two hypothetical extremes, that's what I...
Oh, we're streaming still. Well, now we don't. 1 hour gone.